So finding your comfortable seat. If at any point you need to rest, you need to pause, you just need to lie down, please do. As always, as much as you can, having your feet flat on the floor. Sometimes, depending on the chair, I have short legs. Sometimes I use something under my feet. Sometimes that's really, really helpful. And we are going to begin by just setting up our breath for a couple of minutes here. So finding a length through the spine, imagining the crown of the head perhaps has a piece of string on it and someone's pulling that string so that the spine and the neck, the cervical spine feel like they're in line, and resting your arms, your hands, wherever feels comfortable for you. Beginning to release through your jaw. So for those of you who attend my breathe classes, you'll know a release through the jaw releases our diaphragm as well. So you might like to stick your tongue out, give it a wiggle. You might like to roll your tongue around the inside of your mouth, pushing your tongue into one cheek and rolling it around, stretching these facial muscles here. Could even take it down into the lower part of the jaw. I'm just angling my head, so hopefully the camera can pick up what I'm doing. Under the upper and lower lip, and over the other side. And you might like to take a deep breath in through the nose and sigh your breath out. Releasing perhaps your day so far, any tension in your body, but it also awakens the alveoli, so the parts of the lungs that do most of the gas exchange process there. Maybe you soften your gaze or close your eyes. Sealing your lips and breathing in and out through your nose. And in this moment, maybe you begin to switch on diaphragmatic breath. So that could be something you're already familiar with, or maybe you begin to encourage your rib cage to expand with each inhalation and softly and gently retreat back with each exhalation. If it's helpful to guide your breath, you can take your hands to your rib cage to make sure your ribs are flaring and expanding as you inhale, and contracting as you exhale. If you have been using your arms or your hands, resting them whenever they feel they need that pause, that rest. And then we'll begin to very slowly work through a few movements in the upper body. So when you're ready, beginning to tuck your chin a little towards your chest. You can decide how far, how deep you want to take this. It might be that your gaze is just the head on the floor. Perhaps your eyes are closed, or maybe you take your chin all the way to this notch in between the collarbones. It's called the jugular notch. So you can go all the way down if that feels okay for your head and neck. And then when you're ready, gently bringing your head slowly back to center. And we'll take our right ear towards our right shoulder. So very slowly and gently, taking the ear towards the shoulder. And in this moment, just noticing how it feels in the neck. This might be as far as you would like to go. Might be just enough. Perhaps your ear begins to edge a little closer to the shoulder. Also the option to take your hand and gently encourage you to get a little deeper stretch, only if that feels possible, only if that feels okay for your arm as well. And releasing your hand when you feel ready. Slowly bringing your head back to center. And then moving to the other side. So again, this first few breaths as we take our ear towards our shoulder, just because it can feel very different on each side. So it gives our body that moment to feel into what's going on. How does this feel? It might be enough on this side just to take the ear towards the shoulder, or maybe you begin to bring your hand in again and draw your head a little closer to your shoulder. Very slowly releasing your head when you're ready. Gently bringing your head back to center. And then taking your gaze up towards the sky. So mindful not to throw your head back too much, but looking for just a very gentle stretch around the throat area. So it might be that you lift your heart a little and take your gaze upwards. Maybe going as far as feels okay for your body today. And when you're ready, bringing your head back to center and pausing for a moment here. Begin to very slowly take our gaze towards our right. So just moving the head and the neck, gazing towards the right. And then slowly back to center and over towards your left. Slowly again back to center. And we'll take a little bit of time to do a self-massage, just briefly through the head, neck, or the neck and the shoulders and the arms here. So we're going to begin to use our fingers to gently apply some pressure. I'm going to come a little bit closer to the camera here. So I'm working just behind my ear here and down on the diagonal. So it's sort of down on a diagonal there. I'm coming down here. These areas can get a little bit tender. At the moment, I'm using my fingertips just to gently press down here. You could knead with fingertips. So you'll feel this kind of tubular-like group of muscles. Scalene, sternocleidomastoid, it's got some good names. And it can be tender, so be gentle if you need to be, or you could begin to use your knuckles and just very gently apply some pressure up and down here. As we use the arms, they can get a little bit tired, so it might be that your other arm comes across and kind of props it up, gives it a little bit of support. But only taking this self-massage as long as it feels comfortable for you and as long as your arms don't get too tired, too sore. So these are the secondary respiratory muscles. These are muscles that help us with the breathing, should be doing about 20% of the work. Sometimes they do a bit much or a bit more than they should be doing. You could take this all the way down towards your collarbone. So the bone just here underneath the neck, where they kind of insert. And then when you're ready, allowing your arm to rest on that side. Sometimes I notice you drop that, notice that shoulder has dropped already a little, so you may become aware of that. And then when you feel you've taken a pause to rest, taking it to the side. So exactly the same, that kind of diagonal movement there. And you might just begin to stroke the air, apply some pressure, see how it feels. So this sensation of kind of feeling into your body. Is I do want to go a little bit deeper. Do I want to go a bit gentler? Maybe supporting the arm if that's helpful. And the closer the arms are into the body, less work they have to do. So this kind of sense of tucking the elbows a little bit in towards the body can be helpful. If you get to tender areas, I'm getting to lots of tender areas today, maybe you just check in with your breath. So just check that your jaw isn't tightening and check that you're still breathing, because sometimes if it's feeling a bit tender or sore, we pause the breath, hold the breath. So as much as you can, keeping your breath flowing. Maybe you're coming down to the collarbone a little bit here as well. And then when you're ready, resting that side. Quite a lot of effort taking a self-massage. So we'll take a pause here, just reset our breath, breathing in and out through the nose. And something else that can be really helpful for the shoulders and the neck area is to release through the hands as well. So we're going to begin to take a little bit of self-massage here. So option, if you have something nearby, is to prop your arm up if you'd like to. So if you know your arms, you get a bit fatigued, just prop your arm up. But again, this idea of having your elbow relatively close in is really helpful because it just means the upper body doesn't do much work. And we're basically going to do a little self-massage. I'm going to come close to the camera once again. And I'm using my thumb here to push into the palm, almost as if I'm trying to spread the skin. And then eventually taking this up towards the fingertips. So it's almost as if I'm trying to make my fingers a little bit longer. You might be going a little bit slower or a bit faster than me, and that's fine, not forgetting the thumb. There's no wrong or right way to do this, just whatever feels good here. You might also like to twist the fingers. So I sometimes call this a sausage roll. It's like I'm rolling, it's like I'm turning my finger like I would the lid of a jar, if that makes sense. And it might be you do it between your fingers. You could begin to do it with a fist. So as best you can, giving them a bit of a twist. And what all of this is doing is we're working with the connective tissue, so that layer just under our skin. And we're giving it a squeeze, and that's helping it to hydrate. So a lot of the water in our body's held in this connective tissue. So this is really helping to ease any tightness and rehydrate the connective tissue. And then perhaps you give that fan, a squeeze. So you could just give it a really good squeeze. I'm squeezing my wrist here as well. And then perhaps you take that squeezing up the arm. So what can be quite nice is taking the thumb to the forearm there. Can be a little bit tight, especially if this is your dominant, almost used arm, hand, or you use a computer or a phone a lot. And then you could take that squeezing all the way up. And I'm using a bit of twisting motion here. And then when you're ready, releasing that side. And I'm going to stay close to the camera to guide the other side. So take a moment, pause. Hopefully that side's already beginning to feel a bit softer. You might find you've got a bit of tingling there or pins and needles. And we'll take that to the other side. So when you're ready, exactly the same, maybe resting your arm on some cushions or pillows if you have them, and spreading the skin of the palm. I've realised I've got a felt tip pen all over me. You can tell it's Easter holidays, school holidays. And gently giving each finger a little bit of a tug. So it's a really helpful way of releasing tension, a bit of self-massage, as we can do it supported, we can do it for ourselves. And the connective tissue, giving each finger a little pull if you haven't already. It's a bit like a washing up sponge. You may have heard me describe it like this before. So as we squeeze it, as we do the massage, we then let go. And just as a washing up sponge, the connective tissue is able to, twisting motion, connective tissue is able to soak up more water. So it actually renews the hydration, the connective tissue as well. And so you may find that as you take this movement massage with the neck and the shoulders and the hand, that it affects somewhere else in the body, because it's like a matrix throughout the body. Twisting motion through the fingers, through the thumb. And then maybe coming to some squeezing there as well. Taking the squeezing up the arm if that feels helpful. Maybe there's a bit of twisting through the upper arm, the biceps, the triceps, giving everything a little bit of movement there. And then when you're ready, allowing your arms to rest. Hands resting wherever feels comfortable for you. And hopefully beginning to feel a little bit lighter in the upper body. That sense of feeling weightlifting. And perhaps you take some shoulder rolls to finish in this part of the body. So you can take shoulders up towards the shoulders, back and down, and then forwards, making them as small or as large as you would like to. And if you can take them quite slowly, you can begin to feel in into any tightness or tension in the shoulders and back of the body, front of the body, and even pause if there's a good feeling, a good stretch. We'll change directions. As soon as we change directions, it's going to help alleviate brain fog. And then eventually allowing the shoulders to rest, coming back to stillness. And we'll take some side bends. So I quite like to take a hand to the side of my chair. I'm fluffing slightly to one side. It's a bit difficult depending on the narrowness of the width of your chair. But I'm going to hold onto that side and I'm going to lean towards that side. So my sitting bones are still grounded. You may begin to feel a bit of a stretch inside of the body or your hip. Perhaps you're able to go a little bit further. Make sure that you feel supported where you are. And then an option is to take the arm up and over. So if you would like to find a kind of continuous stretch to the side of the body, coming to wherever you can come to. Reaching a little bit further away. Allowing the arm to come back. And then eventually your body to come back. And we'll change sides. So if you did shuffle to one side, maybe shuffling back to the other side, hand to the chair, just really to support us with balance, feet still grounded and parallel. We're leaning to that side, feeling into the body. And then maybe your arm reaches open up and over. And you'll notice I've kept a soft bend in my elbow. So we're trying to keep softness in the joints, even a micro bend. Just to be gentle on the joints. And then when you're ready, coming back to center. Shuffling back to center in your chair and allowing your arms to rest. So as soon as the arms go overhead, a little bit more work for our heart. So taking a couple of breaths here, allowing the body to settle back. We'll stretch the fingers, clasping our hands and reaching away. So option is just to reach away down towards the floor. Or perhaps you prefer to reach up. I'm going to keep mine low today, but really welcome to reach up if you feel you have the energy today. I've got quite a tight shoulder, so I'm going to keep mine down today. And then when you're ready, if you have taken them up overhead, gently bring them back down and releasing our hands. Take a pause. And we're going to do that one more time if you'd like to. And again, another thing for brain fog, really helpful, is to change the clasp. So you'll naturally clasp the hands and interlock the fingers one way. Can you change it? How I describe it is I slot one hand further down and the finger slots, different thumb on top. So it feels really odd, but great to change it up a little bit, reaching away. And then you can decide whether or not you want to take your hands overhead. So reaching up if you would like to. Jaw still soft, breath still flowing, and then eventually releasing your hands to rest, bringing them back down to rest. So we'll start to move down the body just a little bit so we don't forget the lower body and the legs. So you could take hold of your chair if that's helpful for support, and we're going to point and flex the toe. So the heel could rest on the floor here and you could point and flex there, or maybe you'd like to work your quads a little bit and you lift your foot off the floor. So option there if you'd like it is to rest the heel. Pointing and flexing, spreading the toes as much as you can and letting go. So really finding a bit more surface area of the foot. And perhaps you begin to take some circling motions as well. So just doing whatever you can with the ankle, the foot here, depending on which position you've come to. And then eventually, if you haven't already, resting that foot on the floor. And we'll take that to the other side. So beginning to either extend away, heel resting on the floor, perhaps your foot reaches up. Bit of pointing and flexing, finding some length in the back of your leg. Spreading the toes apart, really helpful. And then some circling maybe as well. If you haven't already, resting your leg down. And we're going to bring one knee in for a hug. So see how your balance is. It might be that you just lift one leg off and that feels okay, that's enough. If you can, bring your knee in towards your chest or up a little bit. And it might be that you use the support of the back of the chair to do this. So you could shuffle back and bring the knee in if you prefer. So finding a variation here that helps you and supports you. Allowing this leg to come back down, and we'll take it to the other side. So we're looking at about 4 to 6 breaths on each side here, but it might be a lot less. So only taking this stretch, this movement, for as long as feels comfortable for you. Gently bringing that foot back down towards the earth when you're ready. And we'll take one more stretch for the kind of inner thighs and hips. So I'm going to take the outside of my right foot. I'm going to try and mirror you at this point. Outside of my right foot to the front of my left thigh. Now that might be too strong here. So the foot that's still on the floor, the left foot, could move forwards, could slide it forwards as far as you feel able to, so you can find this stretch here. It might be you take your hands to the inner thigh and you gently push it down and away. Just very gently, avoiding the knee joint, so we don't put any undue pressure on the knee joint there. And slowly releasing that side. We're going to change sides, so eventually changing sides, likely to feel very different on this side, being mindful of that. You can see that's a much tighter side for me. I'm going to take my foot a little bit further forwards, and then maybe you're going to begin to bring your hands to the inside of your thigh and gently push it away. Releasing slowly when you're ready. Bringing the feet back down towards the earth. And we're going to take them a little bit wider and come into supported forward fold. So I'm going to take my arms and I'm going to rest my arms on my thighs and come to a forward fold, looking just ahead. I just happen to have clasped my hands. It doesn't matter what you do with your hands, whatever feels possible or comfortable for you. Shoulders down. So shoulders are gently moving away from my ears. And in this angle, I'm going to begin to turn to look towards my right-hand side. So just easing through the head and neck again, slightly different angles, as sometimes this changes the sensation of the stretch. Coming back to center. And over towards the left-hand side. Slowly back to center. And then we're going to begin to try and bring our shoulders together at the front. They won't come together. It's almost a feeling of trying to take the shoulder blades apart. So it's like I'm hunching my back. I'm maybe taking my gaze towards the floor a little here, really sort of a hunching shape, feeling like the shoulder blades being pulled apart. And holding this, if that feels possible, for 4 to 6 breaths. And then slowly drawing the shoulders back and down. And we're going to slide the hands up to the thighs. And now we're lifting the heart and trying to bring the shoulder blades together. So as an opening, my shoulders are trying to move back. Maybe I look up a little if that feels okay. Slowly coming back to center. And we'll take a twist. So heel toe your feet so they feel like they're grounded again if you did take them a little bit wider. And we'll turn towards our right-hand side. So as much as you can, using the whole of the body to turn towards the right. Maybe You find a hand on the outside of your leg and a hand on the chair if that's helpful for support. So a sense of a twist through the whole of your spine. And then very slowly easing out and over to the opposite side. Taking your time to release and come back to center. And then if you'd like to, one final shape to cross the midline. So we're going to cross our right leg over our left. So I've brought my left leg a little bit to center and I've crossed the leg over. Maybe this foot can tuck behind. Oh, it's not going to say that. Maybe it can tuck behind. See how the hips are. I'm not going to take it further, but you could wrap that foot all the way around. And then we're going to begin to reach up and open our arms. So we've got our right leg on top. So it's the left arm that has to come on top here, crossing at the elbows. Options to take hold of opposite shoulders, or for those of you who would like to take Eagle Garudasana, you could take the arms all the way around, coming to meet wherever they do. So both options possible. So crossing the midline, making our brains work a little bit more. I'll notice a bit of stretch in the shoulders, hopefully in the upper back, but also working with our brain fog. And releasing when you're ready. Uncrossing the legs. And we'll take that on the other side. So whichever foot, I've lost, I'm trying to remember which side, so it's now the left leg on top. That took a bit of thought and concentration. And then we're going to reach out and give ourselves a bit of a hug to begin with. So the left arm is coming, sorry, left leg on top, right arm is on top, opposite arm on top, crossing at the elbows. So option to take hold of opposite shoulders or wrap around. Slowly, slowly, slowly beginning to unravel and release. Bring your feet back in contact with the floor. Maybe you take another sigh, breathing in through your nose. Maybe your gaze softens for a moment here, or your eyes close. Letting go of any conscious breath work you've been practicing. And taking a moment to notice how you're doing right now. How does your body feel? Hopefully a little bit softer in neck and shoulders, in particular, after a request today. And if you'd like to, you can take your hands across at your heart center. And take a moment there just to thank yourself, a little bit of gratitude towards yourself for taking this time to bring some movement to your day, supporting your mind and your body. And if your eyes are closed, you could gently tuck your chin. Slowly open your eyes, allowing some light in. And bringing your head back to center when you're ready.